If you clicked on this video, you've probably tried minimalism at some point already. Maybe you decluttered your whole room, got rid of a pile of stuff, and for a while, it felt amazing. But then, slowly, things started piling up again. New purchases, small random items, gifts you didn't really need. And before you knew it, your space was right back to where it started. I went through that exact cycle so many times that I almost gave up on minimalism completely. When I moved to a new city, I had this fresh start where I only brought the things I truly needed. My apartment looked beautiful and clean, and I felt so calm in it. But within a few months, the clutter crept back in, and I remember standing in the middle of my room thinking, how did this happen again? That's when I realized something important. Getting rid of things is the easy part. The hard part is staying minimal over time. And the only way to do that is by building daily habits that keep you there without constantly thinking about it. So today, I want to share 6 habits that have helped me stay minimal. And I mean truly stay minimal. Not just for a week or a month, but as a permanent way of living. These are all things I learned from Japanese culture and from watching how my grandfather lived his entire life. Let's get started. First, question everything before it enters your home. Most people think minimalism is about getting rid of things, but my grandfather saw it completely differently. For him, minimalism was about what you let in. He used to say, the mess doesn't come from inside the house, it walks in through the front door. And when you really think about it, he was absolutely right. Every single piece of clutter in your home is something you chose to bring in. That impulse buy at the convenience store. That shirt you grabbed because it was on sale. That random kitchen tool you thought you'd use but never did. You invited all of it in. So start a very simple practice. Before you buy anything or accept anything into your home, ask yourself 3 questions. Do I truly need this? Do I already own something that does the same thing? And where exactly will this live in my space? If you can't answer all 3 clearly, the item doesn't come in. This one habit alone made a bigger difference than any decluttering session I've ever done. Because when you stop the clutter at the door, you never have to deal with it inside. Second, own less clothing and wear what you love. This might sound extreme to some people, but cutting down my wardrobe was honestly one of the most freeing things I've ever done. In Japan, there's a concept of having a small, intentional wardrobe, where every single piece works well together. You don't need 30 shirts when 10 good ones you actually love will cover every situation in your life. When I looked at my closet honestly, I realized I was wearing the same 5 or 6 outfits on rotation, and the rest was just sitting there, taking up space and making my mornings more complicated. So I kept only the pieces I genuinely enjoyed wearing and let go of everything else. Now my closet has maybe 15 items total, and getting dressed in the morning takes me about a minute. There's no standing there wondering what to wear. No frustration about things not matching. And no guilt about clothes I never touch. Every single item in there is something I feel good in. And that small change made my mornings so much smoother. If you're not ready to go that far, just start by removing 5 pieces you haven't worn in the last 3 months. You won't miss them, I promise. Third, clean as you go. This is a habit I picked up from watching how Japanese people keep their kitchens and living spaces tidy throughout the entire day. They don't wait for the mess to build up and then spend an hour dealing with it. They handle things in the moment, as they happen. When you finish cooking, you wash the pan right away instead of leaving it in the sink. When you take off your jacket, you hang it up immediately instead of throwing it on a chair. When you open a package, you break down the box and put it away that same minute. I used to be terrible at this. I'd tell myself, I'll deal with it later, and later would turn into 3 days of things piling up until my apartment felt overwhelming again. But when I started cleaning as I go, the mess simply never had a chance to form. It takes maybe 10 extra seconds each time, which is nothing, but those 10 seconds throughout the day are what keep your space clean without ever needing a big cleanup session. My grandfather's home always looked spotless, and I used to think he must spend a lot of time cleaning. But the truth was, he simply never let things accumulate. He dealt with everything in the moment it happened, and his space stayed naturally clear because of it. Fourth, do a weekly reset every Sunday. Even with the best habits, small bits of disorder naturally creep in throughout the week. A book you left on the couch, some papers on your desk, a few items that didn't quite make it back to their proper place. It's completely normal, and it doesn't mean you're failing at minimalism. That's why every Sunday morning, I do a simple weekly reset. I walk through my apartment for about 10 minutes, put everything back where it belongs, and just scan the space for anything that doesn't need to be there anymore. It's almost like a gentle check-in with my space. I look at my desk and ask, is there anything here I don't need? I look at my kitchen counter and make sure it's clear. I go through my bag and remove receipts and random things that accumulated during the week. This habit keeps the small messes from becoming big messes. Because clutter is like dust. It settles so slowly that you don't notice it day by day. But after a few weeks, it's everywhere. The Sunday reset catches it before it ever gets to that point. Fifth, practice digital minimalism too. This is something a lot of people forget about when they think about minimalism. We focus so much on the physical space that we completely ignore the digital space, which honestly is just as cluttered for most people. Look at your phone right now. How many apps do you have that you haven't opened in months? How many unread emails are sitting in your inbox? How many screenshots and random photos are clogging up your gallery? All of that digital clutter weighs on your mind just as much as physical clutter does, even if you can't see it sitting in your room. So go through your phone and delete every app you haven't used in the past month. Unsubscribe from all the email newsletters you never actually read. Organize your photos and delete the hundreds of screenshots that mean nothing to you anymore. The feeling afterward is surprisingly similar to decluttering a physical room. Your mind just feels lighter. So try spending 15 minutes this week going through your phone and your computer and removing everything that isn't serving you anymore. Your digital space deserves the same care and attention as your physical space. Sixth, remember why you started. Okay, this last one is less of a habit and more of a mindset, but I think it's the most important thing that keeps me minimal over time. There will always be moments where you're tempted to buy something you don't need. There will always be sales and advertisements, and that little voice saying, just this one thing, it won't hurt. And if you don't have a strong reason behind your minimalism, you'll give in every single time. My reason comes from my grandfather. I watched how peacefully he lived with so few possessions, and how that simplicity gave him the space to focus on the things that truly mattered to him. His writing, his family, his daily practice. He didn't have a lot, but he never seemed like he was missing anything. In fact, he seemed more content than most people I've ever known. And that image stays with me every time I'm about to buy something unnecessary. I think about his calm, simple room, with the journal, and the tea, and the pen. And I ask myself, will this item bring me closer to that kind of peace, or further from it? The answer is almost always further, and that's usually enough to stop me. So find your own reason. Think about what minimalism actually gives you, whether that's more time, more peace, more clarity, or more freedom. And hold on to that reason tightly. It's the anchor that keeps you from drifting back into clutter. Okay, let me quickly go through everything we covered. Question everything before it enters your home, because the best clutter is the clutter that never arrives. Own less clothing and keep only the pieces you genuinely love wearing. Clean as you go so messes never get the chance to build up. Do a weekly reset every Sunday to catch the small disorder before it becomes big disorder. Practice digital minimalism because your phone and computer deserve the same clarity as your room. And always remember your reason for living this way, because that's what keeps you consistent when temptation shows up. These are all simple, small habits. None of them take a lot of time or effort, but when you practice them together, staying minimal stops being something you have to force and starts becoming something that just happens naturally as part of your daily life. If you have any minimalist habits that work for you, I'd love to hear about them in the comments. I'm always learning from you too. Take care of your space and your mind, everyone. They're more connected than you think. Thanks for watching.